Alice Bowman moves to the South American country of Tecala because her engineer husband, Peter Bowman, has been hired to help build a new dam for the oil company Quad Carbon. She is not happy with her husband's decision of moving to Tecala, as the rebels in the country constantly threaten the employees of Quad Carbon. However, she came here because she wanted to stay close to her husband. While driving one morning through the city, Peter is caught in traffic and then ambushed and abducted by guerrilla rebels of the Liberation Army of Tecala, ELT. Believing that Peter is working on Quad Carbon's oil pipeline, ELT soldiers lead him through the jungle. They took Peter to a hidden location where they question him and ask him why he came to work on the pipeline. Peter tells them that he is just a worker and doesn't have anything to do with the company's political goals. However, they found Peter's employee card in his pockets and take him to a remote prison where they keep all the foreign prisoners. Thorne, a former member of the British Special Air Service, who has a long experience in hostage negotiation and recovery, arrives in Tecala fresh from a successful hostage rescue in Chechnya. As an expert negotiator in kidnapping and ransom cases, he is assigned by his company, Luthan Risk, to bargain for Peter's safe return. Unfortunately, it is learned that Quad Carbon is on the verge of bankruptcy and takeover, and therefore has no insurance coverage for kidnapping, so they cannot afford Thorne's services. Despite Alice's pleas to stay, Thorne leaves the country. Alice is then assigned a corrupt local hostage negotiator, who immediately urges her to pay the ELT's first ransom demand, a $50,000 good faith payment. Not knowing what to do, Alice agrees, but the transaction is stopped by Thorne, who, due to his conscience, has returned to help. He is aided by Dino, a competing negotiator, and ex-Green Beret. Over the next few months, Thorne uses a radio to speak with an ELT contact, and the two argue over terms for Peter's release, including a ransom payment that Alice can afford. Thorne and Alice bond through the ordeal, and become intimate. They eventually negotiate a sum of $650,000. Meanwhile, Peter has become a prisoner at the ELT's jungle base camp. There, he befriends another hostage named Kessler, a missionary, and former member of the French Foreign Legion who has lived in the camp for 19 months. The two concoct an escape plan, but during their attempt, they are quickly tracked by the ELT. Kessler falls into a river after being shot in the shoulder and manages to escape, but Peter steps into a trap and is recaptured. Kessler is found and hospitalized. Thorne's ELT contact subsequently refuses to respond to his calls. Luckily, one of Alice's young maids recognized his voice over the radio and reveals he is a government official. Thorne goes to a parade ceremony and confronts the contact. He confirms that Peter is alive, but because of the ELT's escalating war with the government and Peter's knowledge of the terrain, the ELT will no longer negotiate. At Thorne's urging, Alice and Kessler convince the Tecala government that the ELT is mounting an attack on the pipeline being built through their territory. This forces the government army to mobilize, thus forcing a bulk of the camp's ELT troops to mobilize for a counterattack. Thorne, Dino, and several associates are then inserted by helicopter and raid the weakened ELT base. They overcome the camp's soldiers, free Peter and another hostage, and then fly back to the city, where Alice happily reunites with her husband. Thorne and Alice share a final intimate moment before the latter departs with Peter on an immediate flight to the US. Thorne wanted her to stay so Alice, but he didn't want to destroy her married life. In the final scene, when Alice's car departs, Thorne's standing on the hilltop watching them till they disappeared in the distance. And with this, the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching.